Dear Dhamma friends, we are going to start the day's Dhamma talk. May everyone settle down for that and give a consent with 3 times sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Namo tasse bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhasse. Namo tasse bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhasse. Namo tasse bhagavato arahato Samma sambuddhasse. Punnaca parang ananda bhikkhu amanasikattva viññānaṁ chāyatana saññaṁ amanasikattva kiñcaññāyatana saññaṁ nīva saññāna saññāyatana saññaṁ paticca manasikaroti ekattaṁ tīti. Dear Dhamma friends, we are taking another step forward along this particular sutta, namely the Chula Sutta, the minor discourse on this voidness. And so far, according to the progress of this particular sutta, it has come to the 7th Arupa Jhana level from the Samatha point of view, and then rationalizing or reasoning, going into the 8th Arupa Jhana. So it appears like, therefore, it is nothing relevant to Vipassana yogis. It appears like it's a realm of the Samatha. But when you are studying the sutta in depth, it says, by taking these names, by taking this methodology, the yogi who is practicing on Vipassana still can have the same perception levels, whether they are established, reinforced and recognized or not, they are relevant, and that kind of interpretation only appreciated by Vipassana yogis and Vipassana teachers. Samatha teachers, they say, no, it is not possible for Vipassana people because they are not mastering regular jhanas, so therefore they can't think about. So therefore many Vipassana yogis, they tend to think the kind of a liberation they are going to get is inferior when compared with the kind of a liberation that Samatha yogis are going to get. So therefore, generally, in the meditation world, they have a huge appreciation for Samatha jhana and Samatha Purvangama method, and it is throughout in the history of Buddhism, you can see meditation means concentration. So much so it has gone into fanatic. Everyone use the term meditation as a synonym to the concentration. Whenever concentration gain, they say meditation is successful. Whenever the concentration is not there, they tend to feel inferior. They report meditation is a destruction or backward because they measure through this concentration. The changing of the gear, the changing of the paradigm happened after Mahasi Sayadaw. Mahasi Sayadaw tried to analyze it and see this may be a failure from the concentration point of view, but is not a failure in meditation. You have to look at the problem from the mindfulness point of view. This is the real advancement in Vipassana. So therefore, don't put your judgmental. Don't put your analysis, just tell what happened. And then the teacher, the instructor, get enough chances to say and enough chance to point out, how about looking at the same situation through mindfulness? It's a revolutionary outlook, revolutionary change in the interpretation. And not only that, when and where you try to see the whole meditative life out of this, the glass of mindfulness, your determination power, your contentment and your positive thinking boosting. Therefore, changing from this traditional standpoint of mindfulness, meditation equal to concentration, one has to give alternative interpretation. Whether you use the term meditation or concentration, just use the mindfulness, then you are ever progressing. Always positive. There is no regret. Because mindfulness is taking care about the tension, taking care about the stress, taking care about the neurosis, taking care about the frustration. So when and where frustration happens, you have to understand your interpretation of mindfulness has to be rebrushed. You have to redo it. So in this sutta also, some may say, whenever it is going to the akasana chayatana, viññāna chayatana, akinchanyayatana, nevasanyana, asanyayatana, so it's exclusively for samatha yogis, so therefore nothing concerned with vipassana yogis, like easily this can get neglected. That is why you never hear any Dhamma talks pertaining to this kind of sutta. They have been completely put aside because their interpretation is wrong interpretation. To make the situation a little ease, I would like to refer to the Sadhu Pandita. He, in his book, In This Very Life, for the first time, he introduced the term Vipassana jhana. Earlier, the jhana is almost exclusively for the samatha people, but he interpreted the difference between the samatha first jhana and the vipassana first jhana, and the difference between the samatha second jhana, vipassana second jhana, third jhana, fourth jhana, and it was a revolutionary kind of interpretation, and so far no one challenged. Because it is opening a new ground for the vipassana yogis, not to wait till that jhanic absorption happens, but practically you can experience it, whether you establish, whether you reinforce it, whether you seconded it or not. These are the levels of perception. So therefore, whether you establish and get into the absorption or not, functionally, everyone has to go through it. So therefore, whether you start with samatha method or vipassana method, you have to understand the functional contribution of the perception. So it is kind of a demanding thing. It's a kind of a revolutionary thing. And no one is happy to go into that because they are so traditional, so stereotyped. Never think against the grain. But when someone is interpreting this sutta, maybe Pottapada Sutta, maybe Ānija Sappaya Sutta, he or she has to take initiative, not only the Rupa Jhana, even the Arupa Jhana perception levels also tangible, also perceivable for samatha vipassana yogis, even though it is not established at the jhanic absorption level. So that is how the new way of interpretation or radical way of interpretations are necessary. And now, present day, so to say in the 2016 or so, there's a kind of a trend, those who are practicing, not get limited by the traditional interpretations. They try to give their own interpretation at the risk, whether someone is ready to accept or not. And if it is getting challenged, it will not be popular. It will not get challenged, and some people experience it partially or fully, then it indicates the commentarial exegesis are not complete. It's partially truth. There are some ways, but they are so stereotyped because they were not the practitioners. For example, if you go to the Oxford University, there are people, they are mastered in commentarial frame. That's what they call Theravada frame. Anyone do research challenging it, they will never give PhD. They will put into the Theravada tradition, and otherwise they say, no, it's a well-established thing, therefore we are not ready to change it. Even you practice, even if you are revolutionary, even if you are novelty, they won't. This is such a stereotype, such a traditional thing is happening. But anyway, we have come into this world in a kind of a revolutionary area or fortunate area. There are some monks full-time meditate. They take as much as possible for the commentary. They directly go into the discourses of the Buddha and they interpret freely and keep it open. If you like, you also can come. If you are traditional, you may go by the commentary. Whether you practice or not, you will contemplate rather than meditation. You will go on deduce, will go on rationalize with not much of practice. So that is happening now. So we under such unsettled situation, under such unclear situation only, I am also going to give the interpretation. What does it mean by akinchanyayatana? Nothing. That means nathikinchi, no traces. So mind, when you keep on refining, can go deep into the situation, theoretically, maybe for a short while, no physical activity, no verbal activity, no mental activity, up to the point, no will, no volition, no determination, no wish, everything ceases to exist. And when you go there, comparatively you can't understand you have gone into there because perception is not there. So it appears like a black hole. It appears like a mishap. It appears like something gone drastically wrong. So you start to change the teacher, change the object, change the meditation because you wish not to experience the death in this very life. So this is a philosophical death. So when you can go there, you experience it, that there is no language on the earth, you can communicate it. There are no people ready to listen to it, unless otherwise they have gone there, unless otherwise they have first-hand experience. So therefore, Vijnana Chayatana, you can say theoretical maximum you can go, but it is not practical, it is not prevalence, it is not living in the day-to-day life. So theoretically you can go. And the second remark is, it is not a must for you to realize. But it's a possibility. Human mind can go into such a depth, plunge into the deepest, and there not only the Kaya Sankhara, not to the Vachi Sankhara, even the Chitta Sankhara not available, up to the point, no will, no volition, no determination, no wish. And then how does it goes? Because each and everything happen in the human mind with a wish, with intention. We know Chetana is the first and foremost drive. Chetana is the motivational drive. So this is a point, you go and hit this point due to your momentum, and while going into this deepest point, even your Chetana, even your will, even your determination, even your wish gone. So therefore it is a kind of a, you have to comprehend it on the theoretical way, but practically you can't do it. Because if the ego is there, I is there, you can't go into that situation. But when you are removing from the Akasana Chayatana to Vijnana Chayatana to Akinchanyayatana, with the momentum, it can go into that situation, but you can't comprehend it. You can't claim it. because it appears like a shock. It appears like the breakthrough. So, explaining this, the Buddha give a nice narration regarding Venerable Sariputta's enlightenment. And he was a very bright student of the Buddha. But in the meditation, Venerable Moggallana became Arahant within 1 week. Venerable Sariputta took 2 weeks because he wanted to go each and every nook and corner, details. So starting from the first jhana, second, third, fourth, and arupa jhana, akasananchayatana, akinchanyanyayatana, vinyananchayatana, akincanyayatana, nevasanyanaasanyayatana. He went very in a systematic way, and the Buddha phrased him, telling he is the only student I can think can go such in detail. This is the way he started. This is the first jhana he started. Viveka jampita sukha, patavajjhanam upasampajja virati, vitakkocha vicharocha, piticha sukhacha. One by one he can delimit, he can separate and see whenever he came out of the jhana, this is vitakka, this is vichara, piti, sukha, ekaggata. And not only that, all the other 13, pasavedana, sanya, chetana, manasikara, one by one crystal clear. And then he find it is so much of mental factors, so he find with respect to that, the second jhana is there, the vitakka vichara is lacking. So therefore it is less frictional, it is less congested, it is less defiled. And then he go to the second and he says, now my mind came out of the second jhana, vitakka vichara is missing, samajitam piti sukham, dutiya jhanam upasampajja virati, piti sukha ekaggata, then pasavedana, sanya, chetana, everything. And then he understand the piti is somewhat adamant, somewhat unruly, so we cut off that and then go to the sukha ekaggata, tatya jhana, and last upekha ekaggata, fourth jhana, and then go to the akasananchayatana. Each and every time he give accounts, these are the things I see when I come out. And now Venerable Sariputta is not talking, Buddha is talking on behalf of Venerable Sariputta. And ultimately he go to this akincanyayatana. When he go there, he come out, he know I have akincanyayatana sanya as well as upekha. And when he come back, he says as far as they are there, situation is not completely clear. And even the sanya available, there is no object as such. There is no breath, there is no rising and falling, there is nothing. So therefore, remaining things he can't meditate upon. So therefore, he is theoretically very good. But the balance activities he can't perform, there is no nimitta. So ultimately compromise, nivasanya, nasanyayatana, they are neither perception, no perception. There are the traces, little bit of things are there. Upon that, he can understand very clearly, these are so trivial, so fast moving, so changing, that is, anicca is very clear when you come out, because whatever available is just traces, just dust. And whatever available is full of suffering. And utterly not according to my agenda, utterly not governable. They are just particle, dust particle, suspended in the air like, why worry? And when and where he contemplate upon this slight traces, take this as example, is the anicca dukkha anatta very clear when compared to the sensuous pressure. when compared to the Nivaranas. When compared to the Vitakka Vichara Petisukha, these are reduced to the bare minimum, and upon that he contemplate and understand. Even if you reduce to the utmost small level, or it's a gross level, the theme is correct. Everything is anicca, everything is dukkha, everything is anatta. That means everything is impermanent. Everything is nothing but a friction. But things are not governable. So much so he went into such a deepest level. He was the first person next to the Buddha can understand someone's suffering. Therefore, whatever the trivial thing other people are talking, he can understand, because in meditation he went to the rock bottom, and even then he was not happy. He went again and again, theory for the sake of theory. So therefore the Buddha gave him that Dhammasenadipati is the treasurer of the Dhamma, because he, despite his understanding or despite his arahantship, but he went deep down, and you can read it in the particular sutta, and there indicate why the Nivasanya Nasanyayatana is practical when compared to the Akinchanyayatana. So therefore, you can go into Akinchanyayatana, but when you come out, you can't give accounts. You can't explain, because there's nothing. But in the Nivasanya Nasanyayatana, perception is neither perception, no perception. So therefore, upon that he can meditate. He can take it as a object of meditation. And it's very clear when it comes to the traces, they are such fast transitional, or it is in a flux, and still it's a friction. But what to worry, it is not happening according to your wish. It is happening by its own natural law. So therefore you can get a distance. So therefore Nivasanya Nasanyayatana accept as something you can do Vipassana meditation. Akinchanyayatana you can't do, because no object. You can't focus upon that. So that is the difference between Akinchanyayatana and the Nivasanya Nasanyayatana. And the Venerable Sariputta is the person. He was such a sharp person, can go and see the traces. And the Buddha says, I can't think about anyone can go up to such a deep layers. So therefore what happens is, whenever someone try to understand the suffering nature, transitional nature, and the non-governable nature of our sensuous world, some people so practical, even that enough for them to, without going to the other testing, yes, this is changing. Yes, this is impermanent. Yes, whatever it may be, it is a friction. Yes, it is whatever may be, even though it is transitional, even though it is suffering, it is not me. It is non-governable. So that kind of gross understanding, something like Venerable Kondanya can get it very easily. Yankinchi samudaya dhamma sabbanta nirodha, but he can't teach. Because his understanding has not gone very deep. But he is released. Even at the very gross level, he never go deep experimenting, refining, reconfirmation, or search and research. Likewise, asana, paryesana. He never go for paryesana, soon he see his release. But the thing is, he lived long time in the forest. No, he teach no one. He can't teach because he got escape, but he can't communicate with others. So therefore, Venerable Sariputta, in other sense, even just listening the first two steps on the first stanza, Ye Dhamma Hetu Baba Setang Hetun Tathagato Ahava, he became Sotapanna. But he took more than Venerable Moggallana, go into these details, so therefore, when he listened to someone, he can listen to the very deep layers of each and every person in the India periphery, and therefore he became like a mother. Any person go there and tell him, and he clearly understand because he went too deep. So making this a practical point, Burmese Sayadaw says, whenever you go there and quickly you get enlightened, there are some people, quickly they met the teacher and 1 or 2 days time they can go through. But they are not worried about the others' suffering. They never listen to others. They never give instructions. But they are fully qualified. They may not have all the discernments, but they are qualified. But instead there may be another person. Even the teacher, he understands. Even the practical hints are there. But he is not happy. He go for yet another method. And go for another method. So roaming around all the methods, even though it is time-taking, he becomes versatile teacher because he can listen to the others and understanding. It's a very common example in Sri Lanka. Each and every private tuition teacher is a failure in the exam. They go again and again to the exam. Each time they go to the exam, they fail. So they are going for different tuition masters. Ultimately, once he become a tuition master, he become genius. But still he can't get the exam through. Let's go and seek in the Sri Lanka. All the senior tuition masters are masters. They can't get through, but they can start helping others. They are doing genuinely. Jnananda is telling, in Anuradhapura and remote areas, the railway lines are there, bus routes are not much common. So whenever they wanted to have a railway station, what they do is take a compartment out of the rail and keep it in the side and use it as a temporary station. Compartment is meant for traveling, but now it is staying one place and giving tickets for the other travelers. It is stable now. That is why half-boiled yams, some people can teach others, but they can't get through. So like you make a compartment as a station, temporary station, and you give tickets for the others, but you are stationary. So this is a kind of ambiguity in the meditation. Some people are going through this method, that method, this method, that method, but still they don't have resolute faith. As far as some other teachers are available, as far as some other methods are available, all they wanted to do. When someone is telling, in contrast, just do Anapana, you can get enlightened. Bhante, what about Metta Bhavana? Bhante, what about Karuna Bhavana? What about Buddhanusati? What about Asubha? What about Marananusati? Because it is been recommended in our tradition, you are teaching only the Anapanasati, then I am telling you, well and good. It's free of charge. You can go and practice each and every hotel in the junction. Go, no problem. But Anapana is enough. Anapana is taking care of everything. But there are some people, that is the Nanatta Sanya, Nanatta Kaya. You must not find fault with them, but you must not get confused. You have to tell, mindfulness is enough to start with. When it's going there, it take care. No, other people say, no, concentration is must. And Panya, knowledge is must. Saddha, Virya, if you feel like that, you can go on roaming around. But if you try to understand, if you have this resolute, the mindfulness, maybe on the breath or maybe on the left and the right, more than enough for the job. So therefore, when it is going there, more you mistake, and still if you are continuing, will be a very good instructor. You can understand others. In Pandita Sayadaw used to say, in Burma, that's all people call anagarika. They wish to become monks, but they have some defects. So whenever you have a defects, you won't get the ordination. But they are resolute. They want to go, so they are called aramika or anagarika. They have a brown cloth and a hat like a pope, the big hat with the leather. And when they are depending complete on the alms rounds. Whenever they come into a monastery, you have to give 3 days. Each and everyone has the right to live in with the monks maximum 3 days. Usually they do this black magics and astrology and all the kind of thing. So whenever they come, the monk is showing him this is the place you to live and this is the toilet, this water. And equally the monk has to inform him these are the lines where you can get the alms rounds. So he used to go with the pole and collecting alms. At the end, he is now enough alms, but still he do not know how to go back. So he may go to the next house and say, would you mind to tell me the way back to my new monastery? Before telling the path, they put little bit more alms into telling that his purpose is coming is for the alms. But of course, he is going to ask the path. Each time he go to the house, each and every time, they feel little bit more and more alms, more than enough. So, more you get lost in the path, more you get filled with your alms bowl. This is the way in Dhamma. If you mistake in meditation, you get yet another way by another sutta. And if it is mistaken, you will get another sutta, another way, so much of things. So, more you get lost in the path, more you get Dhamma. So, sometimes you get some completely corrupted. They don't know even a single method up to the end, but they are full of Dhamma. But Venerable Sariputta is, in that sense, genius. Whoever may be come and tell his or her difficulty, is so carefully listening, he can directly touch, because he has gone very deep. Not only the different perception level, in each and every perception level, he can come out from that and tell, these are the mental concomitants, mental factors you have. So therefore, here his analytical power, the sharpness, is only second to the Buddha. So therefore, this, even though we are using very, very technical terms, deep terms like akasananchayatana, viññānañchayatana, akinchanyayatana, nevasanyānasanyayatana, they are not a must for someone to understand. They are very valid facts in our sasana or in our dispensation. They are very, very profound, rational presentation. But if you have enough understanding about the suffering and the torturing nature of the samsara, first, second evidence is enough for you to understand whatever the depth you go, ultimately you have to end up with everything is impermanent. Everything is suffering or friction. But the thing is, even though it is impermanent and suffering, it is none of my business. It is not governable. It is not what I did. It is something happening. So, if you can't resolute on that conclusion, then you keep on practicing again and again. Wherever you go, ultimately you have to end up with this. So, therefore, different people even go up to the akinchanyayatana, yes, nothingness. Pottapada Sutta, the Pottapada is asking, Bhante, this akinchanyayatana also varies from person to person. Yes, yes. It is nothing. Even then, different people look at it from their own perspective. So the variation is there. So when in the meditation, specifically when we have common discussions, specifically we are doing the group meditation, the other person's experience and the other suttas which you have not discussed, everything, some people take it as a tool to go forward, some people make it a more complication. So it can't help. No teacher can give the blanket application for fit into each and everyone. So therefore, don't worry, don't think negative, even though you can't comprehend these term meanings up to that depth. That does not indicate you are unqualified, you have no potential. The potential basically depending on the impermanent nature that even the physics can understand. Physicists also, they know things are changing. But how to incorporate into your life is a completely different story that is called common sense. And whatever the thing the Buddha called as kinchana means friction. Akinchana, nothing. So whenever you go to nothing, no suffering. But in the worldly sense, if you have a lot of properties, if you are more rich, you are more accumulated, consider as the achievement. But in here, the Buddha is going to say, take whatever you selected, whatever you choose, is the only one giving suffering for you. Whatever you have not selected, whatever you have not chosen, never give any suffering. So therefore, try to live with the utility value. Don't keep on accumulation. But you see how much ambiguity. Whole world says accumulate. The Buddha says, whatever you accumulate is suffering. Therefore, you can't do away with accumulation. Do accumulate to the bare minimum. And let it be utility value. And that is how, even at the Akinchanyayatana level, you can go to the very zero level or datum line. But it is not practical. There should have certain amount of sanya, certain amount of perception. It's very meager, it's very trivial. That is as far as your body is here. As far as you have Saupadisesa Nibbana, not Anupadisesa, you have the friction. You can cut off. Theoretically you can go, but as far as you are living, that means jivita pacha. Till you live, you feel the friction. So therefore at a level to compromise, this is the idle running of the machine. As far as the engine is running, there's a kind of a vibration, even the vehicle is not going there. So don't try to go theoretical maximum. It is not possible. In a mechanical sense, you can't make a machine 100% efficient. It's accepted fact. You can reduce friction. You can go to 99%, 99 maybe, but never 100%. So therefore, if you expect, when you are sitting, when you are getting the highest concentration and highest knowledge, that suffering will be reduced to 100, that is what you call absolute theoretical maximum. That is not possible. Mind think, that is the badness of the mind. To compromise at a level, this much I can put up with, I can bear with. At that level, don't complain. Don't ask anything. That is what you call non-reaction. You see, yes, suffering is there, but you can put up with, without telling someone. That indicates you are not a theoretician to go to the 100% theoretical maximum. You can go theoretically, but it's very little time you can be there. When you come back to the normal day-to-day life, it's a truth of suffering. But the idea given to in our mind, in our Dhammasala and the Buddhism, we can go to the absolute maximum. Never. That is why we make so much of grudge, so much of complaint for tiny little things, which is definitely bearable. You think, no, I must go, I am a practitioner, I have practiced so much, therefore the suffering must go to the bare minimum. Yes, it can go when you are dying. That's a death. As far as you are here, you have to compromise it. So no one knows where to compromise. That is the place Putujjana and Arya is different. Arya Puggala, that noble people, they also suffer. But they never complain. Who the hell can ask this one? Everyone is suffering. Who the hell can give a console that when you go to a doctor, if the doctor is perfect, he must not die. Have you ever seen a doctor who is not dying? Every doctor is dying. So what's the qualification to treat others? And if you go to a lawyer, every lawyer is lying. Do you think that he is not lying to you? Nonsense. That is his profession. You are the fool going to the lawyer. You think that he can give the complete answer. So therefore, understand your knowledge is the maximum. Nothing, no one can help you. Everyone is exploiting you. Buddha is the one only telling you, Attahai attano nato. Don't go in search of. When you go there, don't expect perfect answers. You say for the moment you can do here and there adjustments, but that is not lasting. Whatever you can put up with, if your threshold value or bearability or resistance is increasing, arogya paramalabha means not that without any sicknesses. The tiny sicknesses, minor sicknesses, you never complain. You let the body knowledge to work it with. Not that you are associating people are all enlightened. They come and tell you this and that, but you listen to them just like a deaf person. You see they are suffering, that you never get worked up. You know, I am also suffering, he also suffering. He complain, I am not complaining. That's all the difference. That is the difference between Arya and non-Arya Puggala. So therefore, whenever you are living with normal common beings, they always think perfection is there. 100% perfection is there. So therefore, they never ready to put up with whatever available, whatever possible, whatever bearable. So therefore, they keep on complaining. But when you go to deep in meditation, you have to understand, even in Akinchanyayatana, friction is there. Even in the Nevasanyana Asanyayatana, friction is there because you are living. Life is a friction. Everything in the world is friction or suffering. So the Buddha says, once you accept it, once you know how to put up with, of course your level of threshold value, even it is different maybe with other people, but each and everyone is living with this, some kind of a friction, they know how to put up with. That means not complaining. Buddha used 3 terms, Nābi nandati, nābi vadati, nājyosa tittati. For example, whenever you come up to the Nivasanya Nasanyayatana, there is a neither perception, no perception. There are tiny, there are very trivial signs are there. Whenever you see them, you understand I can put up with them. So nothing to complain about that. When and where you go and ask or inquire, what is this? How is this? Why is this? That is called you enter into that. And you select, leaving all the other sanya, you select one tiny piece, you get into that, you select it and you start talking about, that is what you call defilements. Whatever you have not selected, not going to give any friction. They have not accounted for. So therefore, mind you, when so much of objects, maybe visual, maybe listening or smell, taste, touch, and the mental objects, feelings, perception, whatever you select, your natural selection indicate how fool you are. Your foolishness decides what you select. What you select, you start talking. What you select, you already entered into. Whatever select, that you have given the preference. That is called, the 3 terms the Buddha is using, Nābi nandati, take delight. Nābi vadati, don't talk about that. Nājyosa cittati, don't go, enter into that. If it is so, they comes to go. Whatever you select only, going to give the friction. So therefore, that you can't put into practice in Akinchanyayatana because nothing available. But in the Nevasanyana science, you see tiny clouds-like thing. They come and go. Your attitude must be, your meditation must be, see them clearly, but behave like a blind person. Here, if there's a message, give your ear, but behave like a deaf person. If the shapes and manners are available, don't go in search of the Vyanjana, Anuvyanjana, Anga Pratyanga. Each time you go there, that particular will become your obsession, and you get caught up with, and on that you start talking, storytelling, fabrication. So whenever things are given, whatever the thing you select according to karmic forces, according to your likings and disliking, according to personality, knowing that even if you select something out of the lot, don't talk about. Don't try to make it out from the other. This is also yet another thing. Likewise, when you select one grain of sand from a sand bed, don't try to think this is something special. That is what you call egotistic. This is yet another sand in the sand bed. This thought also yet another thought in the ocean of thoughts. This pain also yet another pain in the ocean of pains. This sound also yet another sound in the ocean of sound. Why should I make it out? Moment you make it out, moment you think it is something special, that is the point where kilesas starting. So therefore, there is no already developed kilesas. There is no future cutting of kilesas. When and where it is arising, you have to understand the terminology, handle it, but put a rubber glove beforehand. Before handling, then there is no smearing. Likewise, when and where something happens, sound, thought, anything, the catching is happening. Even in the, more than in akinchanyayatana, nevasanya, nasanya, it is happening. You feel some perception. Definitely you get encountered with, that is called apatagata, avenued with. Whenever it happens, don't get ashamed, tell whatever that came into contact with me is naturally transitional, transient. And that is the only one going to give the friction. And that happening is a coincidence. Why should I take worries? Let them disappear just like the other thing. And again you may catch it. It is not your mistake as far as you know. These things are impermanent. These things are nothing but suffering. But it is a universal law. So more and more you practice like this, not that you have met up with the situation, no, friction. Friction is always there. You know the least frictional path. You know the comfort zone, but not talking about them. But not make stories about that. Not prapanchakarana. And ultimately you find whenever you learn it, this defilement, so-called objects, so-called things are so weak. They can't come and hit you. They can't inflict you. The Buddha says when you keep the needle erect, and upon that you can pour a lot of sesame seeds, or a lot of any other seed or sand, nothing remain on the tip of the needle. Whatever you pour disappears. And that is what you call the diligent mind, the vigilant mind, mindful mind. Whenever it is flat, when you pour, it can cover the needle. So therefore keep it up. Whenever you keep the needle upright, whatever the thing you pour, it never... Not that there are no sands, not that there are no seeds. Seeds are there, they can't stay. They can stay only when you become negligent, when you become not mindful. So therefore, each and every time, knowing you can make it mindful, that is our endowment. That is our human right. When and where something happens, try to see whether the needle is upright or flat. If it is flat, just upright it. And when it is happening, you never complain, and you never expect no friction. You expect that the things are there. Main thing is don't get entangled with. Because towards the end of this particular sutta, it says, amidst of all the objects, so to say, visual objects, sounds and anything, you try to take no object as your object. That means animitta. You aim animitta. You get the intermediate space, your nimitta. You do away with both the particles inside the side, two sides, and you try to take the middle path. That was called, can interpret as the middle path, and it's an eightfold path. And whenever you say middle, you lose nothing. Usually mindfulness is intact. So once you learn the art, you are not worrying about what are the things right round. Moment you pay attention, they become attractive. They catch all your attention. And immediately you can see talkative mind. Mind start storytelling, fabrication. That you have to understand. These two extremes which you should avoid. You would have paid little bit of attention. Soon they come and distract you. Therefore, you must pay attention to what? No object. It's called animitta. You take nimitta first. Something like anapana nimitta or rising and falling nimitta, and work it up to the zero level. It disappears, become less and less and subtle, ultimately go to the animitta level and try to be there. And then you can see, with respect to the nimitta, animitta is there. That is the way in the physics they call matter and antimatter. They now say, for each and every matter, they have listed in the periodical cycle, they are waiting to understand the antimatter. Antimatter is the absence of that. Each one is having its own shadow. So far in the physics we were doing the matter. So much understand how much it is paralyzed. Now only they are talking about the antimatter and the dark matter. The Buddha is talking not only with the matter, that means he has done all meditation with all the kamatana, and he knew antimatter, and he knew dark matter. With respect to known, he knew unknown. Known is the matter, unknown is the shadow of it, and with that context he understands unknowable. That is not relevant. Don't worry. Whatever relevant for your liberation is with respect to the known and unknown. And with that also, our crazy mind is chasing behind the known. But Nibbana is not at that level. Nibbana is not within the known. Nibbana is, with respect to known, you have to go to unknown. And when and where you go to the unknown, something like akinchanyayatana, nothing, then he knows there is an area unknowable, not necessary. Don't worry. And whenever you are worrying about that, you become theory for the sake of theory. You never go to the peace of mind. So therefore in the theoretical science or in the worldly science, they don't know the limit. They keep on fighting, thinking there is no unknowable and we are superior, we can understand it, though they are chasing. It is like a deer chasing behind a mirage. More and more you run, the distance between the deer and the mirage never come closer. More run, mirage also running. And it thinks mirage as the water, but it's a hot air. Completely misunderstanding. So therefore, when and where you see your tension is reducing, when and where you see your frustration is reducing, when and where you see stress is reducing, appreciate only that. And see, gradually it is reducing, and it is now in the momentum. Don't think about the absolute lack of stress. Reducing, that is a very strong message in this Chula Sunnatha Sutta. The Buddha first explained heavily, grossly stressful station or frustrated level. And then live with, compared to that, Aranya living is less frustrated, less stress, less tension. With respect to the Aranya living, taking the attention to your body, it's a fair state, equilibrium. As far as you are utterly concerned about your body, your mind is so relaxed, your mind is so released, and consider this as a big achievement and keep on mindful, diligent about your posture, and then you start to love your body. You start love the present moment. You love the present place. And that is the secret. And once that is appreciated, Only once you appreciate it, then the Dhatu Manasikara become an inevitable object. If you can't happy with your body, or in the here and now, you are blind to Dhatu Manasikara. Whatever you are talking, Dhatu Manasikara is just theory. You never touch it. You never feel it, because before going to Dhatu Manasikara, you must go through this gate, the post. Once you go to the Dhatu Manasikara, it's a vast subject. So opening, living and non-living, you and not you, everything is universal language. And that it is very clearly, you can say each and every dhatu, maybe earth element in this sutta, earth element has taken, is transition. It is transient in nature. It's evolution. It's a metamorphosis. And whenever you try to study it, it's a suffering. It is not giving any chance for you to study. You are chasing, because it is obvious, and you see you can't put it to a tray and fix it and observe it. It's so fast changing that itself is suffering. But ultimately, if it is happening through someone's agenda, not governable, you have to understand it is suffering, that's it. No more than that. And when you go deeper, the immaterial thing, feelings, perception, volitional activities, and the mind, the conscious itself is exactly the same. So therefore, where you get contented with, the term used is resolute. At what level, it depends. So if you are a doubtful person, doubtful means no saddha, you will go even the deepest level, still you are not enlightened. Because you are not, your faith is not resolute. That is the working faith. So therefore, when and where you practice, when and where you become mindful, if you feel a little bit of release in the stress, don't ask for new thing to happen. Always be happy. Mindfulness is increasing. Lack of tension is increasing. Lack of frustration is increasing. Stress is lack of stress is increasing. Just follow the path. So, but the main thing I just wanted to convey in the today's talk is these areas that we have already taken, the fine material sphere, appear like very profound and very deep, and therefore each and everyone may think it's an essential thing for you to understand. No. Even before going to the first jhana, at the access concentration level itself also enough message you to understand it is impermanent. It is suffering. Even the jhana practice is suffering. Even it is beyond your control. So if you are deciding at that resolute this thing, that's enough. Other person may go there, not that it is bad, not that it is negative. If you go deep, of course you can help others, that is a Bahira Sasana. But for your understanding, maybe that is the hindrance. That seeking for that fine tuning, and that indicates you have no faith. That indicates you are not resolute. So therefore, when and where you deep go into the Dhamma, you go deep into the different layers of consciousness or perception, see, whatever already you have seen, they have served the purpose, done the job in order to reduce the stress, in order to reduce the tension. And if you are not appreciating that, that is called no sampajanya. If you are appreciating that is what the sampajanya, then even then you can go for the bandagarika pariyatti. But you are happy. Wherever whatever you earn, you are happy. The hiatus or the gist here is, whenever you go to the deep theoretical maximum, it is not the doorway out for Nibbana. You have to come back little backward and get little bit of suffering in order to focus it, and then only you can understand. You can take them as a pivotal point for your contemplation. So akinchanyayatana is not a doorway for Nibbana. You have to come back again, nivasanya nasanyayatana. On that only you can jump. Before coming that, if you have enough faith, if you have resolution, resolute faith, they are enough for you to go. So therefore, don't follow others. There's a one email recently, I got it. We fail in our life exam because we copy others. Don't copy. When you are copying, you get failed. You have to find your own way. It is knowledge and the resolute faith has to come in par with, and resolute faith indicate your personality. If you are not believing what you are talking, then you get exhausted. Believe, not just with belief, but knowledge-wise you have test them. And therefore you understand each bit of knowledge is increasing resolution or resolute faith, never questioning it. If you are more and more understand, more and more doubt means it's extravagant. It is unwanted. So therefore this is more true for the intelligent people. More true Western kind of thinkers. The people in the normal saddha, they need not that much of justification, verification. Early part, they either become resolute or they give up. So therefore today, the Buddhism came to the West and analytical mind is checking. So much of roads and by roads are happening, but don't get bewildered telling that you must understand each and everything. No, it is not necessary. And if you have understanding, it is also not a bad thing because you can communicate with other people. But take care about your resolute or adhimucchati resolution, and that highly dependent on the noble friends you are associating, and highly dependent on your common sense in our suffering of the samsara. Otherwise, leaving that, you may go deep into that. There won't be much of results avail. So therefore, whatever you have earned so far, I'm talking exclusive about the mindfulness-based situation. And if you are appreciating that, I hope that appreciation will give enough confidence and determination power you to adhere to a regular timetable. Then apply yourself into a regular timetable, fulfill it with full faith, and do it with utmost respect. And then you, even though you are not enlightened, you are just like enlightened. Because you get the benefit of it. So therefore, don't follow others, don't take this theory understanding as a burden. Whatever you have earned, you have a clear comprehension about that. And with that base, make a regular timetable. Regularly practice it, and that indicates your personality or your spiritual background. Hope today talk also helpful for you to develop and configure your spiritual background. With that wish and with that remark, would like to sum up the talk today. Thank you very much for listening.